The final strategy to increase motivation is to pay for performance. As we saw in Chapter 3, pay is not a primary factor driving job satisfaction. However, pay does motivate people to some extent, and companies often underestimate the importance of pay in keeping top talent. So what should an organization do? The answer is not easy, of course. It's a complex process that entails balancing internal equity and external equity. Some organizations prefer to pay leaders above market value, competitively. Paying more helps attract and keep highly motivated, highly talented people who will stay with the organization longer, which then cuts down on the cost of turnover. Variable pay programs are becoming more common in the workplace. These base a portion of someone's pay on some measure of performance, on individual measures and or organizational measures. Examples of these programs include piece rate plans, merit-based pay, bonuses, profit sharing, and employee stock ownership plans. When we use these plans, at least a portion of employees' paychecks will increase and decrease throughout the year based on changes in performance. The advantage of these programs is that they have a tendency to enhance the performance reward expectancy that we learned about through expectancy theory. If we use variable pay programs, we should measure employees' perceptions of expectancy to note any changes that may need to be addressed. Piece rate pay plans pay workers a fixed amount for each unit they produce, whether it's a blanket, a piece of clothing, a smart device. A pure piece rate plan provides no base pay, but some organizations today are combining it with base pay. Again, these types of pay plans increase the likelihood that people expect a reward for a certain level of performance. There are two main issues with piece rate pay. One, it can be financially risky for some employees. The more things you produce, the more you make. If you are a slower person or you miss work, your pay will be substantially less than normal. The other problem is it's just not feasible for many jobs. Not all jobs have an observable, measurable product that is created. The second variable pay method is the merit-based pay plan. These plans are based on performance appraisal ratings, and not just once a year. Companies like Zulily, Shutterfly give appraisals multiple times a year and raises multiple times a year. The main advantage is that they allow employers to differentiate pay based on performance. Higher performers make more money, once again contributing to the performance reward expectancy relationship. The disadvantages are that they are only as good as the performance appraisal process. Any issues with measurement are going to cause issues for pay. The merit pool fluctuates based on economic conditions. There are external factors playing a role here. And unions typically resist merit-based pay plans. Unlike merit-based pay, bonuses are rewards for recent performance. They are usually based on the last quarter, the last month, or some other more recent measure of performance. For some jobs, bonuses make up a significant portion of employees' pay. More and more organizations are using bonuses to motivate lower level employees. Traditionally, bonuses have been used for top level leaders like CEOs. One of the advantages of bonus plans is that they are feasible for many jobs. Some companies tie bonuses to the company's bottom line. The downside of bonuses is that employees' pay is more vulnerable to cuts. When times are bad, organizations can cut bonuses to reduce compensation costs. Once again, external factors outside the organization can impact people's pay. Profit-sharing plans are organization-wide programs. Usually all employees participate. It's offered to every level. These plans distribute compensation based on a pre-established formula that is centered around the company's profitability. Compensation can be in the form of direct cash outlays or allocations of stock options. This option tends to have a big impact on employees' sense of psychological ownership. They feel like the company is their own, and so are more likely to have positive attitudes about the company, more likely to exhibit organizational citizenship behaviors like turning off the lights and taking out the trash. These plans can also be useful for startups who may not have cash on hand to provide merit-based pay and bonuses on a regular basis. Instead, the better the company does, the better the employees do. The challenge, though, is that it can create a culture based on profits, where people tend to focus more on the bottom line than they do on the product or service and the customers. The last variable pay program I want to mention is employee stock ownership plans, or ESOP. An ESOP is a company-established plan in which employees acquire stock. No cash here. Many times they're offered stock at below market prices. They have the potential then to increase job satisfaction and work motivation. These plans can increase employee satisfaction, motivation, and innovation. It's very important, though, that everyone is regularly informed of the status of the business. It's not enough to sell them stock. They also want information about the company and the stock. Without that information, it can be difficult to establish that psychological ownership. Interestingly, these plans have also been shown to reduce unethical behavior. When a top leader doesn't have an ownership share in the company, they are more likely to manipulate firm earnings reports to make themselves look good. When top leaders own a large amount of stock in the company, they are less likely to do this and more likely to report the earnings accurately because they don't want to deal with the negative consequences of declining stock prices. It hurts them personally. Now you are more familiar with several strategies you can use or you can teach others to use to motivate their employees. In the last part of this lecture, we will review some of the implications for managers.